Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Wytold, and again, this is Jerry Tolk and Brian Bowman. I'm playing the 6-string electric cello. So take away the body of an acoustic cello, put on a shoulder strap, stand up with it, and add 2 extra strings. The normal cello range is like this, but I have an extra low and an extra high, so... And it has no body to bump into when you're doing the left hand up high, so you can go all the way up well into the violin range. Plus it has a bunch of other neat features, like you don't bother people when you're in an apartment building because you can just plug in the headphones, or you can make it a carry-on on an airplane, things like that. And what I'm doing, you heard a lot of different cello layers. I'm doing something called live looping, and I'll give you a little crash course in live looping in a minute, but basically I'm controlling different channels of live recorded cello layers. So every layer you hear is something that I'm playing live and playing back immediately or bringing back into the picture later in the song. Sometimes I take a little snapshot and you don't hear it until like 5 minutes later, but it's all done live. And the simplest kind of way to do that is to set up I've got a few different channels here that I can work with. If you think of one as like a verse, one as a pre-chorus, and one as a chorus, then you can kind of do a standard pop song structure, but it doesn't really sound like pop, and when we're doing it, but you can do verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. So that's going to be something to listen for in this next song called Catch. Thank you. So yeah, that song was called Catch, and I wanted to feature it up front because, well, for one thing, we played it on WGMU the other day, and that was really cool. But we're also going to be going into the recording studio in a few days and possibly doing something vaguely related to that song. And here's what I mean by that. There's a electronic duo from DC named Blue Brain. Has anybody heard of them? They put together this thing called Musical Landscapes, where they wrote music for walking around the National Mall, or wrote music for walking around Central Park in New York. And that means that depending on your geographic location, the app on your phone is telling it which direction the music is going to go. For any given track, there are like 5 different ways that it can be going. Anyway, those guys are really cool for that reason, but also they're putting out they accepted applications for bands to get free recording and producing sessions with them, and we got accepted for that. So we're going to get a free 3-hour session with them to produce one of our songs, but like totally turn it upside down and do something really different with it. We're going in thinking about that song Catch, but it might turn into something totally wildly different. So hopefully we'll have something related to that song in the next month. So I was telling you about looping and about my cello. For this next song, I need to do an alternate tuning on my cello. And anybody that was in strings class back in the day knows that that's not really easy on a normal cello. But I've got guitar tuners on the instrument, just like an acoustic guitar, so I can just drop my low F to an E. So now it's going down to the bottom E of a bass guitar. So now I'm all set, but here's a little bit about what's going on in my mind when I'm looping. You've always got to be like planning ahead a little bit. You've got to be in the moment playing and enjoying it, but you've got to have an idea of where's the song going? Am I going to record what I'm playing now? Is this a solo? Is this an improv part? Is this just a bass line that's going to need to be exactly on to match up with a chord progression later? But there are like 2 or 3 simple operations that I'm working with the whole time. One is just record and play back immediately. So it'd be like this. And now it's just playing back. And I can play over it without changing it. But then if I wanted to, say, go straight into something else that I wanted to be recorded and brought back for the rest of the song, I could record everything, the first phrase and what happens after it, like this. So now I just added 2 layers at once, but then cut it off, told it to stop recording. Or one thing that I could do is have totally separate channels like I was talking about earlier, where I lay down a bass line for one part, say the verse, jump to the chorus, jump to the bridge, and then switching back and forth between all the sections there. So that's what's going on in my mind when I'm looping. At least those are the basics. Feel free to like ask questions or talk or whatever. But I think I'll do one more. This one's called American Dreams. It is an old school song because Aisha just asked me or said if you had lyrics, then I'd be singing them. And the thing is, this song I wrote on a napkin. I wrote out the lyrics on a plane ride back from a climbing trip, a rock climbing trip in Joshua Tree. And then I took those lyrics and added guitar to them. And then a couple years later, I switched from guitar to cello and played in a band where I was singing the lyrics and playing cello instead of the old guitar part. And nowadays, the lyrics are like gone. It's an instrumental tune that's totally abstracted from the original airplane moment. But maybe we should bring back Aisha on the lyrics. I don't know, just a thought. All right, thank you. That one's called American Dreams. It's the first track on a CD that I have for sale over with Donnie over there at the promotions booth. And that CD was funded by a young artist grant from the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. I guess it's been 2 years that I've been living in DC now. I grew up in Virginia, went to school in Pittsburgh, moved back to DC, and have been really embraced by the music community there. They funded me to not only record and produce this album, but to share it with college students like yourselves. So if you have a college ID, the CD is $5 instead of 10. And then we have a mailing list and all that. But this next song is called Pause and features Jerry Tolk on the hand sonic. And so the hand sonic, Jerry will tell you a bit more about it in a minute, but it can do all kinds of stuff. You already heard conga, regular drum kit? Conga, tabla, and drum kit. And we're going to explore some more water noises and I'm not sure what to call them. It's also part of the reason it's called Pause is for the lyrics, which aren't happening tonight. Part of the reason it's called Pause is because of this little memo, which is you'll hear that like twice in the song, and things kind of change up, and that's the Mario Brothers pause noise. So listen to that. Thank you. I'm going to hand the mic over to Jerry for a second to tell us a little bit about the hand sonic, because this next song features another set of sounds that I don't know what the heck the name is.
Hi. All right. So, how many people out there have ever played an electronic drum kit before? Anyone? Any drummers, percussionists, anything like that? A couple people. So, is anyone familiar with the hand sonic? So the hand sonic, I'll try and turn it around there. Can you guys see that? Basically, it's a drum pad that's in the configuration for playing, geared mainly towards percussion instruments, like what you see over here, hand drums. It's divided into 4 main pads in the front, 1 central pad, and then it's got 9 or 10, 10 up top. It has way too many features for anyone to really do anything with, at least for me. I mean, you can adjust every sound on the fly, the pitch, the effects, the everything. It has up here a range of different, I don't know what you would call them, different not genres, ethnicities almost? Countries, regions. So there's Latin instruments and drum, and for each patch, or for each whatever you call it, there's a certain amount of pre-configured drum sounds. So if we, I'll switch it back around now. If you go to the Latin patch, and you can do everything from congas to, there's a bongo, to timbales, and there's African, frame drum. I mean, it has every imaginable drum sound you could ever play with. The stuff I've played with so far is a conga sound, a djembe sound, or I'm going to play with the djembe sound on this next one, a talking drum sound. The pads on here are pressure sensitive. So if you play with a talking drum, and I'm just pressing on one of the other pads, and it acts like a real drum head. You want to mimic that? Yeah, so it does the exact same kind of sound. It goes all the way into weird electronic sounds. It's got like weird sound effects. Yeah, it's got like cartoon sounds, like just all kinds of crazy stuff. And it has this, it's called a D-beam controller. It's just a light sensitive, so when you move your hand over it, I don't know if anybody saw me in the last song, I was affecting one of the noises by moving my hand over it. It creates different effects. So this one is a thunderstorm. So it can do all kinds of, this one, nothing, little cowbell. And if you, right. And there's one that I used to play around here that it's up. So there's all kinds of neat little tricks and toys you can play around with on this thing. It's got 2 ribbons on the side that'll do different volumes of different sounds or modifications. Yeah, so if anyone's interested in playing around with electric kits, this is a great machine to just, because there's not a whole lot of customization you have to do with it unless you really want to do that. So that's about it.
And then there's like this infamous gong on there that like is controlled by the little hand wave. And for many concerts, we had the gong turned on unknowingly, and somebody moves their hand, and then like loud gong noise deafens everybody. So look out for that. But yeah, this next one's called Star 7. Features Jerry on the hand sonic. The 7 part is that the verse, if you think of the song in terms of verse, chorus, and bridge, actually there's a 4th part to this, but whatever. The verse is in 7, but I've had to, the pedal only does things in 4. If you're a musician, if you're not a musician, don't worry. The pedal does things in 4 for the rest of the song, so I needed to multiply it by 4, and that kind of limitation of the hardware that I'm working with, or the software of the hardware that I'm working with, kind of structured how the song was written based on the numbers of what was compatible. You get it. You're the only person nodding. Everybody else is like totally tuning out. Thanks. Josh helped out on that, and Vince, thanks for that input. Normally I can like manually kind of fade myself out, which is pretty neat to be able to do. But then there's this weird moment where I'm hearing it in the headphones. It's like the song hasn't ended, but it's ended to everybody in the audience. And we just experienced that for sure. So this next song is going to feature Brian Bowman on acoustic percussion. And I can't really look at Brian while talking, so this is going to be a little weird. But when thinking about adding percussion to this music, the CD that I put out was just solo cello, many cello sounds, but only cello. When thinking about adding percussion, I thought it was really neat to have all the different genres of sound captured by the hand sonic, but because it's an electronic cello, an electronic drum set, I really felt like something could be importantly added by bringing in an acoustic set of instruments that wasn't captured by the electronic things that we have here. And a couple of the songs that I have, like the very first one that we started out with, Know Me, has a kind of natural world feel, a rhythm that is picked up in world music, but I don't really know much about world music, so I was lucky enough to find somebody who knows a fair bit about that. So I was going to hand the mic to Brian a little bit to talk about his background and learning different styles of percussion.
Hi guys, I'll try to keep this pretty brief. I've been playing drums for about 20 years, started out on, more than 20 years, but started out on drum set. You hear this drum a lot in belly dance. And gets the hips and the butt shaking. This one here's a little interesting. It's called the Rick. It looks like a normal tambourine, but you play it a little differently. Most of the time you're playing a tambourine like this, but this is more of a cabaret style. So it's actually a very versatile drum, but it's usually in the background, and you don't see it featured a lot. So I bought one recently so we could get a little more exposure. And this here is just simply a conga. It just doesn't have the big wooden shell that you usually see, the big cigar-shaped drum. But I like to travel light because I'm sick of carrying too much equipment around, so I bought the compact version. And I kind of never use the same set twice. I always like to bring out different stuff. I got lots of little weird sounds and stuff sitting over here that you'll hear throughout the night. And this next song was kind of a very classical sounding piece. Didn't have such like a normal 4/4 time pop time signature that you usually hear, but I found I was able to keep up with him. When we were doing the song, we used numbers for each part, and I think we went 1 through like 13 or something. So there's a lot of parts in this next song, and it's a different sound than what you would hear on the radio or anything. But yeah, that's basically it.
And this next one has no looping, so giving the layers a break. I don't even know why I told you guys that. You guys would have figured that out.
Smart group.
This song doesn't have a name yet. Anybody want to come up with a name to this one? Please keep that in mind, and we'll consult. So that. Any ideas for the name of that song? Anyone want to throw anything out there? Thing with that song is I performed it once as a debut at a house party, and I dropped my bow. And I caught it just like I did just now, but it happened right at that like last build-up. Almost as bad, actually worse than what just happened. It was like right at the... And I was so afraid of playing the song after that because that was so like catastrophic in my mind at the time that I didn't play it for like a year and a half. But now I'm totally over that. This next one's... Anybody got any names? No, it's just out there. Okay, we're going to do one called Stargaze. This one's brand new. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We've got one or two more. Actually, what is the... I think we might have... Oh, keep going? All right, cool. Well, we've got one or two more. This one's called Titania. It also has... all these songs are kind of structured on builds, right? But this one feels a little bit more epic than the average build that we do. I think this one may be our last tune. It's called Intrigue. And it's track number 3 on the CD, and we've really enjoyed playing for you. I wish I could do like a happy birthday looping cool variation for Aisha. So I want to thank her very much for like setting this up, and thank you Vince, and thank you WGMU for the venue, the warmth, the advertising. I'm really impressed with how everything's turned out, and it's been a great night. But I've tried playing Happy Birthday on like looping, thinking it would be a cool thing, and it's really not that cool. It's like it should be my thing to like do that and then turn it into some unexpected song that's totally off the wall, like Yankee Doodle. I don't know, but I just don't have it. It's not that cool. So happy birthday.
if you haven't yet, if you go sign up on Wytold's email list in the back, you can have a chance to win some giveaways sponsored by Mason Dining. So if you haven't done that, feel free to go do that now. And does anyone have any questions for Wytold? I have one that someone asked me earlier, which was, is that your real name? And if not, where did the name come from?
Yeah, that's actually my real name. It's my real middle name. It's what my grandpa was named. It's what my uncle's named. It's Polish. It would be Wytold. It turns out that it's actually Polish for William, and my first name is William. So it turns out that my parents didn't really know this, but I'm William.
Willy Billy.
My dad was kind of upset when he found that out.
Does anyone else have a question?
You said that you were playing guitar and then you switched to cello. So how long have you been playing cello, and what inspired you? Did you learn on an acoustic and then you switched to electric, or would you always have electric in mind?
Yeah, good point. So I actually started playing cello, acoustic cello, in classical strings class in 5th grade. So I've been playing for about 14 or 15 years now. And I wanted to go to college for cello performance, but I had a really bad case of carpal tunnel syndrome and could not go. I had to take a year and a half off from the cello. And when I got started back into music, I started just learning basic chords, simple strumming on guitar, and doing basic singer-songwriter kind of stuff because it was way easier on my hand. So then that got me songwriting, and then I decided I was way better at cello than guitar, so I could make the songs a lot more interesting. And then I didn't get the electric cello until I'd been pretty far into songwriting on the cello. I guess it was the summer of 2009 that I got the electric cello, so not that long ago. And loop pedal a little bit after that. So.
Where did the name of the CD come from?
Also say it for people who don't know it.
Yeah, good question. The name of the CD is When Fulvio Finds Celeste. And, the CD is blending cellos, and this is Fulvio. And my acoustic cello is named Celeste. So Fulvio Finding Celeste. It's the more masculine and the more feminine, curvy. Blending together classical styles, modern, aggressive, new techniques. That's where the name comes from. Good question.
Yeah, go ahead, just say it.
Well, now did you customize it any? I know you said you had guitar tuning keys, you had extra strings. Was that work you did yourself, or was that something you bought?
Okay, so if you didn't hear, he asked if I customized the instrument. And I did buy it this way. I went looking for a 6-string cello, but I went to a store that I always forget the name of, and it's in Silver Spring. Anyway, they're the only distributor for Chuck Levin's in Silver Spring. They're the only distributor for this particular instrument for the neighboring 5 states, and they'd never sold one. So it's rare. But you're starting to see more stand-up bass players using this model, but not it's on a tripod standing in front of them, and it's a bass range. So rare, but not customized.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question for you. What is that instrument that you were rolling like this?
Oh,
yeah, what is that?
They're basically just shakers, but they're made by a company called Wytold out of Germany, and this set of shakers, they're called Spark shakers, but it's really just the shaker, but being round. That's all it is. But it kind of sounds like Jingle Bells. And then there's this one without this cup thing on it, because the cup
That's pretty cool.
has a lot of different tones. And then this is one as well, but it has a head on it that kind of has a little tone to it. So just a lot of different textures, because Wytold's music is very full on its own. If he were playing without the two of us, it would be just as interesting. So a lot of what I try to do is not get in the way, but add to the texture of the song, because we've got what you normally consider drums coming out of this thing. So if I played the same thing, it would kind of be drum overload. And I try to stay away from that as much as possible, but they're just shakers.